Everybody, my name is Ed. Okay, so we're going to do another trade review. This one's going to be Archie, the Married Life from 2011. Basically, it collects roughly about 12 issues or so of these alternating storylines, where one is what would happen if Archie married Veronica, and the other one is what if Archie married Betty. I think pretty much everybody's pretty much familiar with the Archie Andrews character. Archie was created around 1941 or so, and the original company that published it was called MLJ. And they started around 1939, and I'm not sure how many people do know they originally published superhero comics, and incidentally, they published the first kind of patriotic superhero called the Shield. That character debuted before Captain America, and incidentally, because that character came out first, and he was called the Shield, and his costume kind of had that sort of triangular shield, or around his torso. They actually got Marvel Comics to redesign Captain America's shield. At first, he had that triangular shield as his shield, and they got sorry, MLJ, kind of got Marvel to change it to the circular shield, which actually ended up working better for the character. But anyway, Archie was created by artist Bob Montana, and publisher John Goldwater. And it was a pretty quick hit. It was basically them trying to have their sort of handsome, happy-go-lucky Andy Hardy type character. Andy Hardy was played by Mickey Rooney, I believe, and it was kind of just spunky, young guy who got into hijinks, and those movies were like really, really popular at the time. So anyway, let's see here. The main creators on this are Michael Uslan, Paul Kupperberg. The pencils are by Norm Brayfogle, and the inking is by Andrew Papoy and Joe Rubinson. Paul Kupperberg is mostly known for being a writer and editor for DC Comics, although he's worked for other companies. Mike Uslan, I didn't know this, was actually the producer for most of the modern Batman movies and the Swamp Thing films, and he also taught the first university course on comics. And Norm Brayfogle was a regular Batman artist in the 80s and 90s. He passed away a couple of years ago due to heart failure or heart disease. And both Andrew Papoy and Joe Rubinson have done work for Marvel and DC Comics as well as other companies over the years. Okay, so basically in the Veronica storyline, the idea is that Archie is married to Veronica, and he's working for Veronica's dad, Mr. Lodge. And Veronica's dad kind of wants to take over the block where Pop's Diner or Pop's Hangout is located, and he's kind of doing sort of a gentrification thing. Betty has just returned home from seeking her fortune in New York and failing, so she's come back to Riverdale. Moose has broken up with Midge, and he's running for mayor. Jughead kind of wants to save Pop's Diner, and Moose is dating, I believe, a blind yoga instructor, and Reggie also works for the Lodge Corp, and Chuck and Nancy are running a failing comic book shop. And in the Betty chapters, Archie and Betty are married. He's kind of this failing musician, and he and Betty just barely make ends meet. Mr. Lodge wants to pay Archie to divorce Betty and then marry Veronica, because after Betty and Archie got married, Veronica's gone into a state of depression. Archie, on the other hand, wants to fix up a rundown diner and future music there. And also there's this whole thing where Ms. Grundy and Mr. Weatherby get engaged, despite the fact that she has a terminal disease. Reggie is just kind of bouncing from job to job, not finding something that fits for him. And again, Jughead is running Pops in. And in that one, he's actually getting help from Midge, who was Moose's old girlfriend. Excuse me. Interestingly enough, The Married Life isn't as depressing as I remember it. This came out a few years ago, and I would say it's more soap opera than heavy drama, and it actually deals very well with issues of careerism, marital woes, money troubles, big business. And I think the story stood out at the time because it was so different than the standard Archie tropes, which have been unchanging literally for decades, and most people feel it's become quite stagnant. The classic Archie art style that was typified by older artists like Bob Montana, Dan DeCarlo, and Dan Perrin. It's present here, but the script like I said, it's a little bit shocking almost in a way that it portrays what could possibly happen to these characters if they were allowed to grow up. And this is one of the, I say, few attempts they made at trying new things with the characters after 2010. And the running of the company changed hands. And I think this caused some, oh, Jesus fucking Christ. Sorry. I'm trying to bring up my notes here, and my computer's acting really weird, but that's okay. The ownership of the company changed hands, and the new owners wanted to try some different things. And there was some behind-the-scenes legal troubles with back and forth of lawsuits over who should be running what and that type of thing. But getting back to the point, the Archie line, they were doing stuff like this. They were doing the horror line with Afterlife with Archie and the chilling adventures of Sabrina. What else was going on? You got the Riverdale TV show. Oh, they tried to bring back the Archie superheroes, the Hood and the Shield and all those people. And of course, like I said, you had the Riverdale TV show, and then of course you got the whole big company-wide reboot a couple of years after that. So let's here just to take a look at some of the art here. Very nice, very professional. Like I said, it is that standard Archie style with a few dramatic ticks and different types of angles and things like that. Let's see here. Midge telling Moose that she's going to leave him just because he's got all these anger problems and things like that. This is interesting. This is Moose's yoga instructor. And for the whole thing, she's drawn in a way that makes it look like her eyes are always closed. Huh. Oh, Sheryl Blossom. She doesn't really play a big part in this particular volume, but she's telling people that she's living it up, and actually she's got some drab job working as a waitress. Let's just find some more stuff here. Moose declaring his run for mayor. Archie marries Betty. Oh, this is kind of interesting here. What? Here's Archie doing a singing career. That's not what I was. That's not what I was going to bring up. What I was going to bring up here is here's this random page that's just here. This is kind of showing you some of the different styles of Archie throughout the years. But anyway, getting to the point, here is Little Ambrose. It comes in as Ambrose Chowderhouse, right? I'm not familiar with this character, but I imagine it must have been another kid's comic that they must have published, I don't know when, in the 50s or 60s possibly. Little Ambrose. Alright. Here's Reggie. Anyway, really decent layouts. Like I said, the comedic Thor thing is still going on there. But you also have this dramatic style. That works as well. All right. So anyway, yeah, I thought this was a really good. It was actually a pretty well written. Like I said, for some reason in my memories, it was more depressing than it really is. But it does give a pretty realistic take on the characters. It's dramatic where it's supposed to be dramatic. It's funny where it's supposed to be funny, and yeah, it does deal with these issues of you know, careerism, underemployment, money problems, marital problems. Infidelity is kind of hinted at. But yeah, it shows, people growing up and dealing with these adult issues and ideas and themes. So, all right, so that's it. I got to thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it. And you guys have a good day.